Hi, Libra. Welcome to your January 2020 Astrology 33 reading. Thank you to those of you who've liked, viewed, shared, subscribed, and donated to the channel. I appreciate all of that. And for those of you interested in booking a personal reading with me, if you're watching this as I'm posting it, I'm actually not going to be offering personal readings just yet. But when we actually do move into January, I will open up personal readings around that time. So if you're interested in that, just check out the description of the video for more info there. As far as what we have in front of us, we have a Celtic cross spread as always. Some extra cards came up for you there. And we also have some oracle cards to take a look at once we get through the main spread, and also a mudra card. So let's get started with the main spread. The main situation position, we have the Knight of Wands. So this is actually a court card of Sagittarius. So for some of you, you could be dealing with a Sagittarius, obviously. Now, let's keep in mind also that for you guys, Sagittarius is your third house. So this can just be saying that some of you might be on the move, on the go a lot this month, maybe traveling. Now, normally I would say short distance travel, considering that it's a third house card, but since, again, this is a Sagittarius card and your chart is kind of flipped being a Libra, this could point to long distance travel for some of you as well. But either way, it looks like either you're going to be on the move quite a bit this month, or there's someone that you're dealing with who has that energy that's nearby. In the challenger obstacle position, we have the Four of Cups and the Devil. So, quite a few signs already have been getting this card, or at least some kind of Cancer card in the challenge position, which is interesting because to me, the first thing that comes to mind with that is that we are going to have that full moon eclipse in Cancer. So it could just be emphasizing the importance of that and how it might be a challenging energy for a lot of people this month. But beyond that, I will say, this represents the last 10 degrees of Cancer, and then this is the major arcana card for Capricorn. So this can represent a few things. On the one hand, this could say that maybe you're receiving love offers and maybe you're not interested in those love offers because there's still a karmic tie that you're attached to. So even if you're not physically with this person at this time, maybe there could be some lack of closure around that situation that's making it hard for you to move on and even want to look toward other offers coming your way. Another way this could be playing out, given that Cancer is your 10th house, this could also just represent that maybe there are some career offers coming your way, and maybe even some of them might be at a distance from you, and maybe you're reluctant to accept them because you're really tied to where you're currently living. That's another way I could see these energies playing out. On the flip side of that, could even be saying that maybe in some ways you might be being held back because of some beliefs that you've had since, maybe early childhood, because now your fourth house is really activated. I mean, obviously, there's been a lot going on in there, but now you add Jupiter to the mix, and maybe, this could even just be pointing to some ways where you might be limiting yourself due to some beliefs that you might have had from early childhood. But either way, it does look like there's offers coming your way. You don't seem to be interested in them, and like I said, I feel for me, there could just be something that you're tied to that's preventing you from even looking at those offers. So that's what I see there. Now, so let's say these are career offers, and with the Devil energy, it's usually more of a karmic tie, which is to say, once you learn those lessons and that connection, usually will break free. Sometimes it can move into a healthier version of that same connection, but this can just also say maybe it's someone you feel indebted to, so maybe it's a job that you've been at, and maybe you feel like, oh, they gave you an opportunity when no one else would, right? Maybe now you've had some experience with that job, maybe 4 years, let's say, and maybe there's new offers coming your way, but you feel guilty because you're like, all right, I feel indebted to these guys because they gave me a shot when no one else would, right? Just a generic example in a way, but also I feel like it might provide some context for the energy I'm seeing there. So hopefully that helped. In the foundation position, we have the Four of Swords. So this is a Libra card, represents the last 10 degrees of Libra. And for those of you who have your placement in those degrees, you might be feeling this energy a bit more too, because the Saturn and Pluto conjunction is going to be taking place in the last 10 degrees of Capricorn, which would be squaring these degrees in Libra. And also that full moon is pretty much going to be right around those angles as well. So Could just be saying that you're healing from something. Naturally, we could say that maybe there was a love relationship that broke up, and maybe that's tied to what I was saying there. Maybe for some of you, you recently broke up with someone, there's new love offers coming your way. And maybe with that devil energy, you haven't had the closure in that connection, you're still healing from it. And that could be what's at play there. Um, and this could just be you guys just trying to take a bit of a rest too, which might even be wise given all the cardinal energy that's going to be hitting you guys with these eclipses. You know, it might be best to just lay back a little bit. But yeah, that's what I'm seeing there. Let me see if anything else comes to mind. No, that's pretty much it. All right, in the past position, we have the Strength card, the Queen of Wands, and the Eight of Swords. So a lot of Wands energy going on so far for you guys. Now, Strength, this is the major arcana card of Leo. Queen of Wands technically is the court card for Aries, but could still be that same person, maybe a Leo energy. And then the Eight of Swords is technically a Gemini energy. But looking at these three cards together, this can be another energy pointing to that devil energy, which can sometimes point to ego and karmic attachments as well in certain situations, along with the Queen of Wands. Given that Aries energy represents your opposite sign, naturally it could be a love relationship, right, that we're looking at. And you might feel stuck in a connection, so that could also represent what we were seeing with the devil there too, with the chains, right? Like maybe in a way you know that maybe the connection isn't right for you, but yet for whatever reason you're not quite ready to leave it behind. That could be what's at play there. Well, this could also point to Mars as well, and I'm trying to think when Mars moves into Sagittarius, since we do see the Sagittarius indicator there too, pretty early on in January. But given that this was in the past position, Mars has been and currently is in Scorpio, which for you guys is around finances too, so this could be career related as well, which is again to say that, you know, maybe you feel stuck regarding what I was saying. You might be getting some offers but not quite ready to move on them yet because you might still feel obligated to your current job for whatever reason. And why I say that's a bit weird to me is it does look like these offers that might be coming in might be better than what you currently have. So that's why I feel like I was saying that for some of you, just feel indebted to the place for whatever reason. In the present position, we have the Seven of Wands. So this is more Leo energy here. And for you guys, it is your house of friendship. So this can also be related to friends, and maybe you might feel challenged by in some way rather, by your friend group. That could be what's at play there. Maybe that's part of it. You know, maybe you feel like they wouldn't approve of the changes you wanted to make. And, you know, I mean, that could be the case because you guys as Libras, you do tend to try to really think of everyone before making decisions. So that could be what's at play there. But what's interesting here is, to me, it looks like you would be taking that action, you know, as opposed to being fearful of it. So I don't know if there's an energy shift or what, or if this really does represent your changeability right now, as far as one moment you feel ready to make the move, the next you're not sure. You know, could be a lot of vacillating too. Like I said, there's some pretty intense energies affecting your 4th and 10th this month, so that could be what's at play. All right, in the near future position, we have the High Priestess. So this to me is usually a Piscean energy, and it represents just really reflecting on things, being in touch with your intuition. I always say that this is someone who's very aware of their emotions, but also has firm control over them, because I always think of the fact that it looks like she has her foot over the moon there, the moon symbol. So that could be what's at play. Some of you could be dealing with a Pisces. But yeah, could just be one of those things where, because I do see a lot of Wands energy, the Swords energy I'm seeing to this point is just that resting energy, which could even point to that as well, where you're really trying to rely on your intuition more than anything regarding some actions that you might be considering taking. And maybe even this could just be as simple as pointing to some of you turning to things such as this, like tarot readings, to get some additional insight, right? Because you might just feel a bit stuck right now. And the energy of your influence on the situation, we have the Two of Swords. So this is actually a court card of Libra as well. Not a court card, excuse me. Pip card of Libra, which represents the first 10 degrees. So this can just be pointing to, again, what I was saying there, where you might feel that urge to move, especially with all the energy going on in the cardinal houses, but at the same time not being quite ready. I almost feel like this is like a red light, green light type energy. That might even be what I titled this video. But yeah, it looks like you're definitely weighing options. And what I always say with the Two of Swords energy, it always stands out to me that they have their back turned on the water and the moon, which to me those are both indicators of emotions. And then having that blindfold on there, to me, represents just really wanting to make a decision strictly based on logic, right? They have their heart closed off in the stance that they're in. So this could just be saying that you're really just trying to remove, and again, that could be the difficulty. Like I said, if there's some, whether it be friendship, career, romantic relationship, where you just feel like this tie to them with that devil energy. And maybe, like I said, for some of you, you logically you might think that yes, it is the right move to move on from the connection, but the emotions might be what holds you back from doing so. So this could be you just trying to actually move past that and actually see what would be the best decision for you in the long run. Trying to think if anything else comes to mind there, but I think that's about it. All right. In the position of the environment, we have the Hermit. So the Hermit coming up in this position, this is a Virgo card. So this can be another indicator for you guys, given that Virgo's your 12th house, that you're really reflecting on, really just stuck in your mind right now, trying to figure out what move to make next. And I'm looking at what they're looking at. The Hermit's looking in a way towards the High Priestess and also toward that Four of Swords. So to me, these are all related, these energies, which is definitely about just really resting, really taking a lot of time to think things over. And I mean, like I said, we see that with that Two of Swords energy as well. So interesting now we have some wand energy there, but then it also looks like there's a lot of reflection and not really moving either with that Four of Cups energy. Like I said, it could just be that there are some karmic completions that you need to wrap up before moving forward, and maybe you're coming to that realization too. Maybe these eclipses are actually going to bring it more to your attention as well. I was saying in one of the other videos, I think maybe there could be one more eclipse during Cancer season, but really this is almost it for the eclipses on the Cancer Capricorn axis, and then we're going to be moving to the Gemini Sagittarius axis later this year with the eclipses. So a lot of these lessons that you're meant to integrate regarding those houses should be wrapping up for a lot of you guys soon. So that could be what's at play there. And given that, like I said, given that your Libras, your chart is kind of flipped in a way. So what's normally the 6th house would be the 12th house and vice versa. So this can be related to work matters for you too, though. These two cards here. So again, that could be what it is. Like I said, maybe you guys have some career offers coming your way, and like I said, maybe it's primarily that it could be that there could be an offer that you have that's amazing, but maybe it's at a far distance from you with that Knight of Wands energy popping up there, and that could have you reluctant to move. But with that Jupiter energy just moving into your 4th house, that could actually give you some luck around moving as well, if that is something that you are considering. All right, in the hopes for fears position, we have the Death card and the 10 of Swords. So this is the major arcana card for Scorpio, and this is a card that represents the last 10 degrees of Gemini. So given that these are in the hopes or fears, I'm going to assume these are both fear. Obviously, I don't think anyone hopes for a 10 of Swords. Well, to be fair, I guess you could. Again, like I said, if there's a karmic connection that you really feel like has, run its course, but you just have that difficulty separating from it, I guess in that regard, for some of you, this can be a hope that you're hoping to move on from it. But for others of you, given that Scorpio represents your 2nd house of finances, you could just be fearful that, whatever move you would make might end up backfiring on you. So that could be what the fear is. So maybe You might just be reluctant to accept a new offer because you feel like it wouldn't lead to the security that you currently have at your job, which is common for people to feel sometimes, right? You might feel like, okay, well, yeah, I could take this offer. It sounds amazing, right? But maybe it's a newer company, for example, right? And the company you're currently at has been around forever, and okay, at least I have security there. So even though this new offer might be amazing, right? You're like, okay, but will I have that security? And you could be fearful that if you move toward it, that could be what ends up happening to you. At the bottom of the deck, we have the Knight of Cups as well. So this is more Pisces energy. And it could just be actually that some of you might be, again, wanting to extend an offer to someone as well. Maybe it's regarding this karmic tie, right? That there's no closure around it, right? Maybe you're coming to that realization as more people come around toward you and make offers. So that could be another way it's playing out, which is to say that there is someone that maybe you separated from, but there was no real closure around it. And now you keep getting these offers, and they're almost bringing to your realization that, maybe you do want to go back to that person. And maybe that's what's at play there, but you're fearful that if you do move forward and make the offer, they're going to decline it with the Death and the Ten of Swords. Now, what I always say to people, whether the cards in the hopes or fears position are absolutely amazing or awful, is that it's just hopes or fears, so it's more something that's on your mind, as opposed to indicating that it might actually play out in physical reality. So, something to keep in mind there. And in the outcome position, we have the Knight of Swords. So basically, this is the court card of Gemini. So we see the flip side of that energy, which is the Knight of Wands, right? But for some of you, this can just be saying that, again, you are going to have Mars move into Sagittarius in January, which is your house of communication. And given that this is the card that represents the house of communication, this could just represent that as the month starts to move forward, you start to really integrate your thought process and say, okay, what's the best move to make, right? And then this could just be saying that toward the end of the month, you actually are ready to make a move and ready to communicate around what that move would be. All right, so now let's move on to your oracle cards. The first one we have is building blocks. There's the artwork for it, and the number is 28. Okay, it says strong foundations, a beautiful work in progress. The oracle's message: you have everything you need to cultivate an extraordinary life. This is a time when your focus needs to be on the foundations you build upon. Your work, your relationships, and your very being are underwritten by your values, ethics, morals, and core beliefs. Are they still true for you? Will they stand the test of time and serve as the solid grounding upon which you construct your life? Now you are making changes that will affect everything in a positive way. Your destiny is truly a remarkable and beautiful design. So, interesting message there as far as looking at your beliefs. Like I said, there's plenty of stuff going on in your fourth house, which could have you evaluating your beliefs as far as, like I said, early upbringing. And then we also did just have that full moon in your ninth house of Gemini, which is regarding beliefs in some ways as well with that Sagittarius energy. So maybe you've just been reevaluating, what fits and what doesn't. And the relationship message says, when you see this card, know that you are attracting new relationships into your life and solidifying the ones you already have by building them on the foundations of honesty, humility, clear communication, and a genuine desire to know one another. You are moving toward laying the groundwork for a relationship with the firm footing that will ensure it can withstand any storm. Long-standing relationships are also repaired and strengthened. You and the other person are stronger, wiser, and more powerful together than apart. So definitely an interesting message there. I mean, like I said, we did mention somewhat of how this could be playing out as a relationship scenario, so hopefully that resonated for you guys that fit into that category. The prosperity message says you have everything you need to turn iron into gold in the alchemical process of creating the prosperous life you desire. Now is the time to build on the strong foundation you have already laid for your prosperity. Keep in mind that these building blocks are imbued with the sparkling energy of your intentions. Own your dreams, and remember that you always have more than enough and you always are enough, so abundance is ever present. Your creativity is divinely inspired, and the design for your life is taking shape in service to the world. You are meant for success. So, for those of you, like I said, where I was picking up on a potential feeling of maybe self doubt in some way, shape, or form, and I think I might have gotten that for you guys a few months back as well. Hopefully, that is a supportive message for you there. As far as like I said, maybe you could just have these self limiting beliefs that don't really fit your life anymore. So, maybe that could be what that's pointing to. All right, next we have Scarab Beetle Spirit. It says magic works through you. There's the artwork, and the number for this one is 52. Okay, it says in ancient Egypt, the scarab beetle was revered, for the creative magic of scarab beetle spirit reminds us that we can bring forth something extraordinary, seemingly out of thin air. Whenever you let your creativity flow through you, scarab beetle spirit reminds you that spirit has given you the gift of infinite potential. You have an ally as you fashion something new or repurpose the old, for spirit co-creates with you, channeling energy through you so that you feel replenished and vitalized as you make magic with what is at hand. Now is the time for great optimism, for you can accomplish anything you desire and your creative endeavors will come to fruition. Miracles, opportunities, abundance, and love will appear seemingly out of nowhere as you allow Spirit's work through you and magically manifest what you need. So the interesting thing that came to my mind there when I was reading that was the fact that we did have a little bit of Leo energy, and Leo is the natural house of creativity. And this made me think that maybe there was, with that Eight of Swords energy underneath these, it could just be saying that maybe this is also some kind of creative project that you've been putting work into and you've been holding back on releasing it for whatever reason for a while. Maybe it's saying that the time is right to bring that forward. And that's the case, there's going to be some fifth house energy going for you guys as well in January. We're going to have Venus there for part of the month. I think the first half of the month, more or less. And then Mercury's going to be there a little bit after that, so a little bit past mid-month. So you will have some energy moving through your fifth house too, so maybe that'll help. All right, and then the last thing we have is a mudra card. So the mudra for you guys this month is the Matsya mudra, and the keyword for it is integration. All right, there you see the information on it. You guys can pause it or take a screenshot if you want to take a look at it, but under benefits it says activates the body's self-healing potential, increases suppleness, improves concentration, generates feelings of devotion and compassion. So if this sounds like something you think would be beneficial for you guys, I will leave the name of the mudra in the description as always. And we'll wrap up there, guys. Happy New Year, and I'll see you all next month. All right, bye.